When you hear the Igbos, what comes to your mind? A tribe. You hear the Hausas, what comes to your mind? A tribe. You hear Ashanti, what comes to mind? A tribe. You hear the Zulu, what comes to mind? A tribe. You hear Yoruba, what comes to mind? A tribe. You hear Akan, what comes to mind? A tribe. You hear Oromo, what comes to mind? A tribe. Let me ask you, when you hear Iceland, what comes to mind? A nation. You hear Wales, what comes to mind? A nation. You hear Scotland, what comes to mind? A nation. You hear Luxembourg, what comes to mind? A nation. Why? Mind conditioning. Come, let me teach you. You see, the Iceland has a population of over 400,000 people. It is a nation. The Hausas has a population of over 70 million people across West Africa, but it's a tribe. The Yorubas, over 50 million people, is a tribe. Scotland, over 5.5 million people, is a nation. The Igbos, 45 to 48 million people, is a tribe. Wales, 3.3 million people, is a nation. Oromo, over 40 million people, is a tribe. Ashanti, over in millions, is a tribe. The Zulu people have a strength in millions, is a tribe. But people that are not up to 10 million are nations in Europe. Do you see the inconsistency? These are not just words. They are not just language. They are not just descriptions. These are mind conditioning. These are what colonial administrators use words to form your mindset. Let me teach you. Follow me carefully. You see, during colonial administration, the colonial administrators use words to shape how you think, because how you think determines how you will reflect your reality. Come close, come, leave the road, come close. You see, when you look at the definition of a nation and then look at the definition of a tribe, you will be able to see why they casted that spell on you using those words, using those vocabulary, because these are not just vocabulary. Now let us define it. When you look at the colonial definition of a nation and look at the colonial definition of a tribe, you will find something. Pay attention. What is a tribe? From the colonial perspective, a tribe is a small, social, primitive unit organized by kinship, usually without governance, without formal writing, without formal laws, without an organized border. That is the colonial definition of a what? A tribe. In simple terms, call them barbarians. But then a nation, a people bounded by shared history, a people bounded by shared culture, a people bounded by shared heritage, a people bounded by history, usually having their own writing systems. That is their own definition of a nation. And the critical thing there is that a nation has the right to self-governance. They have the right to say, we want to govern ourselves. That is why they did not refer to you as a nation, because they don't want you to have a sense of self-governance. That is why today when you say, I want to be free, you cannot be free. You cannot have a country as an Hausa tribe, but you can have a country as an Hausa nation. You can't have your country as an Igbo tribe, but you can have your country as an Igbo nation. But your mind has been conditioned to believe that you're a tribe and not a nation. Whereas people that are less populated than you are referred to as nations in Europe. Come close, let me tell you why it is like that. I've given you one layer. This is the second layer. You see, it was easy for European colonial administrators to govern Africans as a separate tribe than to govern you as a single political identity. Because if they govern you as a single political identity, you will have right to self-governance. And because they wanted to justify their colonization in the African continent, they needed you to believe that you were primitive, that you were not capable of self-governance. That is why you were being referred as a tribe. Now, when you look at European nations, look at African tribes, what is the difference? No difference. The Africans that are being referred to as tribe had their own history, had their own language, had their own political system. They had their own writing system. The Igbos in Nigeria, all the way, had in CBD. The Hausas had their own writing system. But yet, they must be made to know that they are tribes and not nations. Why? Because that shapes the way you think. Before the colonial administrators arrived, we had empires, we had kingdoms, we had republics, we had systems, we have political systems. Talk about the Shanghai, talk about the Oyo, talk about the Arab Confederacy, talk about the Biri Empire, talk about the Oyo Empire. But yet, they were believed to be made to see themselves as tribes. Why? Now listen, these empires and kingdoms and republics and confederacies that were in Africa, they had systems of taxation. They had where they conduct their own diplomacy. They had their own laws. They enforced their own laws. They fought their own wars. They collect their own taxes. But yet, when they fought war, European history call it what? Local clashes, tribal wars. That is primitive local people fighting themselves. That is the way to diminish what is happening in your place. But when they fight their own, they call it civil war. They call it wars of secession. They call it revolution. What did they call it again? They call it wars of formation. That is the same human behavior but different vocabulary. One sounds political, one sounds diminishing. That is diminishing your effort. That is why when Europeans fought themselves in Europe, they call it World War I, World War II. But you fought yourself in Africa, it is local primitive people fighting themselves. Why? Because you have been defined to be a tribe. And who is a tribe? A tribe is a small, social, primitive group of people governed by kinship. That is their own definition of a tribe. But that is not the generally accepted definition of a tribe. Mind you, I am not saying that tribe is a bad word. No, a tribe is a people also bounded by shared history and by shared culture. But there was a reason why they had to define tribe the way they define it, so they can deal with you the way they deal with you. It's all about the mind. We are not saying that we don't have tribes in Africa. We have tribes in Africa. What we are saying that there must be consistency in the way these things are being perceived. Because if you are to perceive Iceland, Wales, Scotland, Luxembourg as nation, why can't the Igbos in Nigeria, the Hausas in Nigeria, the Akans in Ghana, the Ashanti in Ghana, the Zulus in South Africa, why can't they refer to themselves as nations? These are Machiavellian manipulation to keep you down. So when the Igbos in Nigeria say they want to be free, they can be free, they are tribes. The Hausas can be free, they are tribes. The Yorubas can be free, they are tribes. The Ashanti can be free, they are tribes. The Zulu can be free, they are tribes. These are colonial wordplay. You think it is just a description. It is not just a description. It is what I call administrative tool. Yeah. I hope you understand. Teach your children, let them understand. Because these are made to make you understand yourself as being small. You are not small. You are the king. You are the king, Akebulan. You are the king. And mind you, see, this week, I've not been too strong for a while. I've not been too strong, but the town crier is back. And I'm carrying out my book distribution very soon. I want to say very thank you. There's a Nigerian that sent me 100 naira for book distribution. Young man, I am proud of you. Thank you so much. We are over 400,000 right here on Facebook. If 400,000 of you can donate 100 naira to this account I displayed here, I'll use it and buy book. I want to start going to villages to teach children in villages with the book we are going to buy. Support Moderndaytowncrier book distribution. What we are doing on Facebook will not only be on social media. We have to take this gospel to the villages. Teach our young people. Teach them what the curriculum cannot teach them. They need to understand these things. Support Moderndaytowncrier. Let us get it done. Do you understand? Because this month of August, we must take books to villages and we must organize communities. I am already talking with local town criers. I'm the modern day town crier, but I'm talking with the local town criers in villages to organize children for me where I can come and teach them. And we cannot teach them without giving them books. And some of these villages, we cannot bring our children to teach them without giving them biscuits and some certain things. We need to bring them close with that so we can teach them. Be part of it wherever you are in the world. Be part of it. Either you use the link in my bio to do that contribution, or you use this account I'm doing here. We must make it done. You must be part of it. This is our destiny to liberate this continent. Remember what I told you. Tribe is not a bad word, but colonially perceived, they use to limit you. You are a nation, and you must begin to think like one. Akebulan, wisdom. And mind you, you can also request for book. I will give you for free. Okay? All of you who have been requesting for book, I've not been replying that actively because the town crier has not been fine. If you look where you see I've been carrying some tests on my hand, I've been taking injection for a while, but the town crier is back. Please make sure you contribute so we can buy this book. No amount is too small. No amount. Please, let's do this. I love you and I care about you. Wisdom Akebulan. The principal thing.